All right, everybody, welcome. It is Thursday Night Forum once again. We are back, and it is a preseason meeting here. 3 weeks to go till the start of the season, and it's time to shed all of that World Cup rust away. And I see a shadowy figure to my left, right. Anyway, uh, welcome everybody. Welcome to all the Arsenal fans, champions. We are champions, and we go into the season as champions. So here we go, another season. And since we've been starting on this podcast journey, uh, we started in the depths of mid-table. We started under Unai Emery, and we started all the way through Mikel Arteta's reign, and we've chronicled the whole way up. Stan, here we are. We're sitting. We have to sort of tap ourselves on the shoulder and say, "Yeah, we're Premier League champions." Stan.
It's quite funny because before we started come on the show today, just when I got home from work, what came into my mind, I don't know why it went there. I was thinking about Arsenal and looking at some of the transfer updates and whatnot. And what popped into my head was Ivan Gazidis. And when Ivan Gazidis was sat behind his desk one time and he made that promise to us,
Yes.
he said, "We will do things.
Yeah.
We will do things that will excite you." Do you know
So-
what I mean? And it's been taken a while, but I feel like, that promise is finally, coming to bear some fruit.
All right. What are we going to say? Are we going to give him credit? Was he the oracle? Did he know all along, or was it just the natural evolution of things? Our cycle has come around. Our circle has come around.
Well, he made that promise, didn't we? And then we went and got done in by like Bayern Munich a couple of times. And
Couple of five.
I used to remember, I always used to think to myself, like, I ain't seen nothing that's really exciting me at all here. But over the last, the end of last season, and now what's happening as we lead into the new season, I do feel that statement that he made is actually coming to pass at last. I do feel excited.
Yeah.
But we can go into some stuff in more detail. All right, Tone. Do you feel excited? Do you feel excited, Tony?
Not yet.
Why am I not surprised?
He's a bah humbug. Who's he used to always say bah humbug? Scrooge.
I'm not about
Ebenezer. Ebenezer Turner.
Ebenezer.
Tony, how you been?
I've been so.
All right, that is great news. That is like if you say you're so, that's the picture of hell for most people. You know what I mean?
It also means that I have to have a full shoulder replacement more than likely. Hey,
Yeah.
Bionic Tony.
Tony, you could be an Arsenal player right now. You'll be on the treatment table 6 times a season. You know?
I'd be healthier than they are.
All right. Well, listen, as the notification links go around the world and shoot up to space and back down, and people grab that notification, and we have 5 or 6 people in the chat. I think BX is watching right now, and we've got to shout out the Arsenal Misfit. He's always here, whether he's here with his ear or here in present. Today he's here with his ear. So Stephen, good luck to you. Evening, gents. Hope you're good. Stephen has some portents of the podcast coming forward tonight, Stan and Tony. Lots going on in footy these days. Little Lord Fauntleroy, as Stan likes to call him, has stepped down from the throne of Newcastle. Remember, back 5 or 6 years ago, they were going to take over the world. But I guess they stayed within the rules. That's all I'm going to say about that.
They made the new rules based around them. That's what happened.
UEFA starts a rebellion against FIFA. Arsenal trade rumors. Unfortunately, I'm just about to start. a 4.5 minute, 4 hour, 30 minute drive for work. So listening in today. Yeah, I've got to kick some of that World Cup rust off of me as well, Stan, until we get polished to this thing.
That,
So
that's a long road trip to work.
we will keep practicing, as they say in the medical profession. Never understood that why they kept on practicing and never actually perfected the art of medicine. But Stan, a quick word about the World Cup. I'm going there because I went with Spain all along, and I can give myself kudos. Kudos to me.
Yeah.
Spain won.
Did you have a look? Did you put any money on it?
Yep.
You did. Come out nice.
I did. I did actually two very nice bets. I did England to beat Mexico. You know that Sunday, England to beat Mexico and Norway to beat Brazil, and that was a nice 10-1 combination there. And for the final, I took at the quarterfinal stage, I took Spain to win the competition, and Mbappe to be top goal scorer at 8-1.
Hmm.
So those are two nice little lands that I did for the World Cup.
So that means home, away, and third kits for the three of us.
Yeah, yeah. The kitty's been buffered. Right, the coffers are in.
Well, I'm glad you done all right, but I lost 50 quid. I'm not really a betting person, but before the competition started, I was reading this article talking about this economist guy. Can't remember his name now, but he had basically predicted the winners of the previous 3 World Cups. I was like, okay, this guy's got a bit of a track record, and so for this one, he went for Holland, went for the Netherlands, and obviously as well, my missus has Dutch ancestry, so we put 50 quid on that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, when the Netherlands got booted out, I turned to my missus and I just said to her, if I ever see that economist walking down the street, he's gonna know all about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it. 50 quid on it.
I thought you were going to say, if you ever see her in orange again, you're going to be there.
So, but yeah, I'm glad it's over now. It was all right. I watched quite a lot of the matches.
Yes.
I watched quite a lot.
It was a nice distraction, right?
And I don't think Argentina covered themselves in any glories at all.
No.
They probably ended up. They've become now like the pantomime villain, aren't they? They're basically the pantomime villain.
Yeah.
They're putting the damsel on the train track before the train, twirling their moustache. That's their role now.
Do you remember? You remember 4 years ago the tussle they got into with the Netherlands? Speaking of the Netherlands, there was some bad blood in that semifinal as well. And Emi Martinez.
Whoa. What was semi-final? I don't remember that World Cup.
Yeah, you didn't see any of it. And Emi Martinez gesturing with the trophy or something.
Golden Glove.
Huh?
Just acting the fool, wasn't he? He had the Golden Glove award.
Golden Glove, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But anyway, I thought it was a good competition. Erling, I have a lot of people now who don't know about football asking me about Erling Haaland. Oh yeah, I've known about him for a few years now. He's been giving me some nightmares for the last few seasons, right? But this season, notwithstanding, we did get one over on Man City, and we are Premier League champions. So there we go. All right, where do you want to kick off the show?
Can we just kick off from there and say, oh, let's sell the World Cup off to sponsors and make yourself a lot more money, the fucking Kirk said.
I don't have a whole lot to say about them, but if you want to spend a few minutes on them, that's absolutely fine.
But it's like I watch good football. I remember why I watch the World Cup.
Yeah.
But then you quickly remember it's a criminal organization at best. They always talk about money trickling down. It don't trickle down. you have to pay in the States to play soccer. There's not a cheap way for kids to play and get anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money doesn't trickle down. It's more like the mafia where the money gets kicked up to the head of the family.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's a taste. But I mean, I think this plan by Infantino is just going to fall straight flat on its face because, as we know, UEFA, all of the European companies have said like we'll boycott the next World Cup or FIFA competitions. But also now, CONCACAF from the other side of the world. What's CONCACAF again? What do they look after? Is it South American football and Asian football? CONCACAF, is it? It's one of those governing bodies, right?
I should be more knowledgeable about these things, but I'm not.
Well, CONCACAF, which is like a UEFA, but the other side of the world,
Yeah.
same thing as well. So, you know, how are they going to, what is there to sell off? You know, with all of these major countries not participating, the value just goes down, right?
Yeah.
No Spain, no France, no Mbappe, no Norway, no Haaland, no Jude Bellingham, no Harry Kane. You know, all of this the Europeans are quite big in this competition, right?
Yeah.
And you've got CONCACAF as well coming out of it. It's just going to fall flat on its face.
And what I've read about it, since the Women's World Cup is next year, it's like those are to be the ones boycotting it. So more than likely, you won't end up with a Women's World Cup at all. So then that hurts the women's game further. And you make 15 billion it was, and you know that money's not that trickled down anyway.
Yeah. For the grassroots, that's what they say, right?
I mean, a lot of those opening round games are $500.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that Infantino has just not. I mean, the first thing he does, he gives the president a peace prize. You know what I mean? He's not no. You know what I mean? Like he's Nobel all of a sudden. It's like we don't have that in football. Peace prizes. Like, there was that. It was like, okay, what's all that about? And then you've got the red card situation with Balogun. Cards being rescinded. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, there's other players that have got red cards. What's happening with them? Oh no, we're going to actually. In actual fact, he's getting 2 matches. That other guy, he has to miss 2 matches. Like, it's just, and then some of the officiating. It's just all. And now this guy's not doing himself any favors, man. And then the water breaks. We all know. Just say we're going to a commercial break. Don't treat us like idiots.
And don't forget, Spain had a Photoshop Trump out of their trophy lifting because he wanted to get off the stage. Florentino was trying to drag him off.
Listen,
it didn't work.
I thought if you want a good
half-time show, I mean, all of a sudden that's half an hour break so that we can watch, you know what I mean, a video package of Madonna being driven around in a buggy by R9 with Ronaldinho. I mean, what was that all about? I mean, it was just ridiculous.
And she was only there for 30 seconds. Like, all that stuff was free.
Yeah, that was a video package.
Speaking of,
just goes to me, are they really? Because we're watching it, right? She goes, are they really there when they were driving around? I goes, there's no way, guys. You know what I mean? The amount of times he probably crashed that buggy. You know what I mean? You got to do another take. You know what I mean? To get the angle. But Wayne Rooney was the best. Did you see Wayne Rooney?
Yeah.
When they went back to the studio, I was watching it on the channel he was commentating. The lady, I can't remember who it was, she said to Wayne Rooney, what did you think of the halftime show? And he just said, he goes, well, I like most of those artists, but I thought it was crap.
Yeah.
Said it, man. I was just like, you know what? Wayne Rooney has gone up in my estimation.
Yeah. With the presenting of the trophy and the final as well, when Trump is going across, just look at Mikel Marino. Mikel Marino's doing this.
Oh, is he?
Laughing, so that's something to check out. Steven's chimed in here. CONCACAF is North America, Central America, and Caribbean
There you go.
Yeah.
nations. So thank you, Steven. Even though you're about to head out for work in about 4.5 hours, thanks for being here. So yeah, that was the World Cup. I thought it was very, very well put together. Expensive, and if you were planning to go to the game, too expensive sometimes. So I did not get to a game. I'll tell you that much. But I did enjoy it on TV.
Come
But
on, Ray.
It was
You
right
could have
here. It was
Ray
right
could
here.
have
You have to
sneaked
go
in there
past all the
somehow.
car. I never went to any.
what's that, Stan?
So the stadium here in Vancouver, it's not that far from where I live at all. In fact, when matches were on, some of the matches were on at around about maybe 12 o'clock my time. I was going past it on the way to work and going past it on the way home. It was busy.
Yeah.
It was busy, and I did have some friends of mine and some friends of ours who went to about 3 matches. Because she's Canadian and she's Swiss, and they both had games here.
Did they have a pretty decent area for them to gather outside the stadium there?
Yeah, they had an aerial. They had like the fan zones and all that. All of them from the SkyTrain, and I used to go over it every day. Yeah, that was pretty well organised. To be fair.
Okay, well, our Arsenal interest was not on the Argentinians.
Well, I have one last thing that I thought was funny. It's like all these stadiums suddenly became New York, New Jersey stadium.
Oh yeah, that's right. I took off the sponsorship.
The second it's over, it all comes back down. But it's like you just made money off all these companies. It's like, is it really to destroy the game if you're announcing what the
exactly
name of the stadium is?
Yeah. All right. Well,
but yeah, it's good that, I mean, I suppose as an Arsenal fan, other than the country that you may be hailing from to get to the final, and I mean, I'm a disaster, right? I mean, I've got England, Scotland, right in there. I've got Canada now because I'm a Canadian citizen that I can choose from. I've got the Netherlands in there through the missus. Do you know what I mean? I've even got France because my half brothers are French, right? So I kind of like tag him. I can kind of sneak in there a little bit and get a bit of glory. And then I've got Jamaica, which don't even bother to turn up. So I've got a choice of 6 teams, and not one of them can get to the final. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. I've got so much to choose from. Not one.
I thought the Scottish did really well, though, Stan. They drank the city out of beer.
Yeah, I heard about that. Good lads.
So they definitely took their end up. You know what I mean?
I think the same thing happened here in Vancouver, but with Australians. They done it here as well. I was reading about bars running out of beer and that. One bar said we sold like over 4,000 pints. We've never done that before.
Yeah. So some nations did well.
I think I said for North America the beer drinking from this time last year went up 10%.
All right.
So just the World Cup made beer drinking go up 10%.
I was also going to say there, I missed a bit there, that from an Arsenal standpoint, probably got the best result that you could probably wish for, and that's 3 players coming back to your club with World Cup medals. Not bad, is it?
Yeah, you got David Raya, who arguably was unlucky not to have played a game, or maybe he did play a game or two, but
didn't play any.
He didn't play.
And he wears the number 1 jersey. He's not even the second choice. He's third choice. His third choice. It's Simon, then Joan Garcia, then David Raya. And do you know why that is, right? The reason I think that David Raya, even though he's the goalkeeper of the Premier League champions, is he's out of sight and out of mind, and he left Spain at a very, very young age.
Yeah.
He left at a very young age and played for some. I can't remember who he played for, but he played at some other clubs at a young age, rather than staying in Spain. And I think that's probably the reason where the manager probably gets to see the other 2 a lot more often. Yeah. David Raya is kind of a little bit out of sight, out of mind.
They must have some goalkeepers though. If they have 2 goalkeepers ahead of David Raya. Same
Well,
thing, the midfield that they have with Zubamendi as well.
I think in some of the games leading up to the World Cup, like the qualifiers, I think there was a period of time where their goalkeeper got injured or something, and David Weir came in, played some games, done really well. But as soon as the other guy was ready to go, he was straight back in. It was none of that. All right, we'll keep this guy. He's doing all right. So
Yeah.
there's obviously favourites, maybe.
Yeah. The strength of midfield in world football now. Zubamendi's a pretty decent midfielder, but he can't break into that Spanish midfield as a first choice. You know, you got the PSG player. He's pretty good. Ruiz, I think his name is, and obviously Rodri, who's maybe is going to go to Real Madrid, mooted to go to Real Madrid. You know, very outstanding midfield. And then when midfield gets tired for Spain, what do you bring in? But Mikel Merino, Arsenal's Mikel Merino.
And he's very good at making goals, isn't he?
Yes.
Very good at making a goal.
He was the most valuable player for the
I'll be right back.
like those 3 games. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have went out early if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, against Portugal, that was a knockout game, right? The last 16, I think it might have been. Ronaldo, Spain and Portugal. And Mikel Merino comes on in the final minutes and nicks a goal. And then the Belgians, lucky Belgians who'd done well throughout the tournament. Mikel Merino turns up late and scores a goal off of a save from the goalkeeper as well.
I was still rooting for the Belgians.
Yeah, we're going to get to Leandro Trossard as well in a second. So I think we'll be able to knit all of this podcast together in a nice flow, right? Right, Tony?
I still wish we kept him, especially since it seems like we're to sell Martinelli.
Well, hold on one second. We'll talk a little bit more about Mikel Merino, Tony, because even in the final when Spain legs got a bit tired against Argentina, you're able to bring in the likes of Mikel Merino, and he had an impact in the game late on as well in the final.
Who was saying on the broadcast that he should have been the man of a tournament? Because
I don't know, but
he helped them from not getting eliminated. And
he is a strange profile of a player. I mean, I'm not going to call out Gary by saying this, but when we first signed Mikel Merino, certain Arsenal fans were saying, "Where does he play? What does he do? What does Mikel Merino do?"
I did. When I heard we signed Mikel Merino, I was like, "Yeah, we signed Mikel Merino." I was like, "Who's this guy then?" And I thought, for some reason as well, a few other people were saying, I thought, okay, is he another number 6 then? Is this guy 6? No, I watch Spanish football. I wasn't watching a lot of international games. I thought, is he a 6? But I think that he's a very, very important player for Arsenal's team. And I think that the fact that we won the league in spite of him not being available, I think we've done well because I thought that he's a vital part. This guy, again, when we first signed him, I was kind of nonplussed. But he's one of those players, a bit like Danny Welbeck. It's something about, when we signed Danny Welbeck, I've said it millions of times on here.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we signing him for? I was like really pissed off about it. But he endeared himself to me, and Mikel Merino has done the same. I think he's a very valuable player. And just the fact that you could even stick him up front and he scores goals.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to go with the other Danny, with Danny Ceballos, which was a huge disappointment.
He didn't endear,
to say the least.
BX says Merino's a Swiss Army knife. No, he's not. He's a Spanish Army knife. He's an Arsenal Army knife. He is a Swiss Army knife as well. And Stan, the good thing about Mikel Merino is we're going to have a few players that are tired from this World Cup, injured from this World Cup. Mikel Merino, as you just mentioned, Stan, has been injured for most of the season, came back late in the season. So he could be a very important player for us in the first 2-3 months of this coming season.
Yeah, I really believe that he can. I think he's a very important player and he makes a good contribution. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of him. And, when you think of the people that we have in our midfield now, And if we do get Bruno Gummy Bears, it's a pretty good midfield. From deep lying midfielders to ball carriers that can go box to box, and your flair players as well. It's quite a good blend that we actually have in our books. I mean, let's go through it. You've got Zubamendi,
Hmm.
okay. You've got Mikel Merino. You've got Declan Rice. You've got Martin Odegaard. You've got Eberechi Eze. You've got Ethan Waneri. Let's put Bruno Guimaraes in there. Gummy Bears. Let's put him in there. That's 7. Who else am I missing from the centre of the pitch?
The person that Arteta forgot
Maybe
to play.
maybe Norgard if he stays. Who knows? All right,
Yeah.
he's still on the books.
Yeah.
Right, and who's come back into the fold? Teabag, he's back from his transfer. Fabio Vieira is there, right? You're going to see in pre-season because there won't be other players won't be back yet. So that's 9. That's 9 midfielders, and all of them are very good at different things. It's quite a blend of styles.
Yeah.
So do we need any more in the midfield? I don't think so. There's probably an argument that you could probably get rid of a couple. Teabag, even though I want Teabag to like have a breakout season, he's probably someone that they would look to sell. And then let's talk about Ethan Waneri as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Norgard, who knows, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think we need to give Declan Rice a good month.
and there's another one, Miles Lewis Skelly.
I was going to mention him, but
Oh,
I thought you had mentioned him.
No, he did not.
So that's 10. It's not bad.
And privately, I'd love to push Calafiori in there. He's going to get in there as well, Calafiori, from the left back position as well. Declan Rice, we need to give him about 4 or 5 weeks off from the start of the season. He was running on fumes at the end of the World
Not
Cup.
that happened, Ray.
Well, it has to happen, Tony. Okay, I'll make a little bet with you, Tony. Do you think that Declan Rice will play a competitive game for Arsenal before the 21st of September?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, a competitive game. All right. Maybe I'm doing myself a little bit of an injustice there, but I'll leave it stand at the 21st of September. We'll see what happens.
I just think that we need to be in a situation now where we've got a squad where we don't have to rush players back and depend on them that much. If they need to have the rest, I put a tweet out a couple of weeks ago saying, if there's any players that need the rest, make sure they have the rest. There's no need for them to get rushed back into a season. And I'd go as far as to say that if there are any players carrying injuries that they need to go under the knife, just do it now and get it out of the way. Do it. If it means that we're going to be without them for a while, it's much better than them. How many times did Martin Odegaard break down? Break down in warming up to play games, breaking down in the first half. I'd rather come back
Timber
late.
again.
Yeah.
Timber again.
Timber, come back late if you have to come back late. We've got people that can cover for you, right? We can still go on without you, but when you come back, then you'll make an impact because you'll be at your peak. You'll be at your peak again. I'd rather have that and bringing back someone who's carrying an injury, playing through the pain. Because he's only playing at about 75, 80%.
That would be so. To me, Stan and Tony, that would be Declan Rice right now, playing through the injury. Don't come back and play through the injury, because we know what happened. This happened 2 years ago, I think it was, when he came back and he played through the injury, and he wasn't right for most of the season because of it. Take that extended rest. You're not broken. And you can come back. Saliba is one that, could we say he broke down in the World Cup, right?
He broke down before. He's carrying that back injury that had been bothering him for a while.
So Arsenal
and backs are tricky. They say surgery wouldn't help. I don't know if it would or wouldn't, but
yeah. It sounds a little bit dodgy for William Saliba this season, I have to say. Right, and that's going to be a severe handicap on our season going forward. And I know, as you know, I've called for us to be more prolific next season.
I suffer from back injuries. I'm having another problem with mine this week. The thing is with back injuries, you can't see it, right? It's not like you've got a bandage around it or a sling, or you've got a boot on your leg. Do you know what I mean? It's so uncomfortable depending on what kind of back pain you have. You know, so I can imagine what it must be like for him, and he needs to have the rest. He needs to have probably ongoing sort of like physio, RMT kind of work, but there's no point rushing him back. Give someone else their chance as well, you know, get him back when he's fit, but also be able to look to your squad and say, right, it's time for you to step up now.
And backs, even with like the imaging and stuff, it's still hard to determine the injuries. A lot of times they'll even miss broken back. I'll miss it being broke. It's just crazy. It's just a very temperamental thing that you can't see, but it's there.
Before we jump into midfield, then we have to address the right side of defense. Saliba's going to be out. Mosquera is going to have a bigger role, and Timber is going to have to play a little bit more. You know, and there's been some talk about, even before Bruno Guimaraes is potentially coming to Arsenal, which we feel could be happening soon, that Arsenal will have to move on a right-sided defensive acquisition.
Probably two of them.
I don't know. I don't think that it's necessary, because you've got Mosquera, but you've also got Ben White, who's now over his injury. He's had prolonged time out and is having rest, and you know, could be good to go. And he plays as a centre back on that right side. So why? I don't know what, you know. And we've got three people that can play that position, right? Timber can play.
You're talking about 3 people for 2 positions now, though, right?
Well, no, I'm talking about the right side only. On the right side only.
Saliba, the right centre back and the right back spot, right?
Yeah.
Ray's doing both.
Yeah.
You've got Timber, Mosquera, and White.
Yeah, but Timber's injured.
But I don't know. He's going to come back at some point. I don't know what the strength of his injury is. But if he is going to be out for a prolonged time, then in that case, is there someone that's breaking into the team that can cover, or do we have to spend money?
And I don't trust Arteta not to use Ben White as a right back.
Yeah. BX says we need a right back starter, I think. Timber's out and White can't give you 2 games a week yet. So, yeah. I think get Munoz. I think Munoz, the Crystal Palace right back, was one of the better right backs last season. Timber, if he had been 100% fit, I guarantee he would have been pretty good for us.
I think we couldn't get John Stones, isn't it, to be honest, on a free.
Yeah.
Would you take him?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
To help out, of course. I mean, we know he has his injury problems, but you know,
I feel like City were never going to allow that, though, Stan, right?
He was already out of a club at the World Cup. He was free to do anything. He was no longer. I remember the first time I heard it, he came on off the bench on one of the games, and a commentator said, John Stones, who doesn't actually have a club at the moment. And I went, really? I didn't know he was leaving City. And he was like, yeah, he's a free agent. I thought to myself,
yeah, and the same thing was announced about Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers, who's now a Chelsea player. I was like, hold on, what happened there? And, you know, I didn't really feel that Morgan Rogers could fit in at Arsenal. So happy. I think I'm going to be happy to dodge that bullet, the Morgan Rogers bullet. 119 million. You know, I don't think he could surpass what we're going to do in that.
Well, we were never to pay anywhere near that. We were
not at all. No,
we were never to go past 90. So,
I'm going to go on record and say I do like the strategy of the Arsenal and the Cronkies, that they will pay what they feel is right for the player that they're chasing. So I don't know how you feel about that, Stan and Tony, but I'm generally happy that we're going to just dump up the amount of money that we believe is is represents the value of the player. So it'll be 80 or 85 for Bruno Guimaraes. I'll be happy to pay 80 or 85.
And I just want these deals done because preseason starts
You got 3
tomorrow.
weeks. 3 weeks tomorrow. The season starts.
Preseason starts tomorrow, though.
Yeah, preseason starts tomorrow, and the season starts on Friday in 3 weeks from now. So make of that what you will.
And it closes a week. Why isn't it open later?
It closes in September 1st.
I thought it. I thought I closed that.
No, it goes on for a little bit. You know, BX said we have a serious midfield with the addition of Bruno. I mean, not counting our chickens, but it's looking pretty good for Bruno. We'll get to Bruno pretty soon. Mazlou Skelly is a future captain in the making. He has excellent mentors. That's the thing about Arsenal as well. We're filling the team up full of captains. We're filling the team full of primary players, A-listers.
Do you put Skelly back there at left back and scoot some of those other guys into the center back row since they're all center backs?
Hincapi is your out and out defender. Hincapi, he reminds me of Tomiyasu a little bit, who incidentally could be playing for Crystal Palace soon. Takahiro Tomiyasu.
If he passes their trial.
And Calafiori's not as good defensively, but is good going forward. So you got a little bit of horses for courses. Yeah, injuries has been the issue for Tomiyasu, but we wish him well. Once a Gunner, always a Gunner. This is a brand new era for the club, says BX. All right, we're finally doing what we wanted to do 20 years ago. We fell behind, but are back with a vengeance. Yeah, and listen, I want to repeat. I want to repeat. And that doesn't mean what I've just eaten for supper. I want to run it back, Tony. Premier League champions.
We better get very busy in a very short amount of fucking time.
All right, what do you think we need, Tony?
You need a.
Now, let's be realistic here.
You need a left back.
No.
You need a right back.
We have left backs, Tony. I agree with you. We need a right back. But
You definitely need. It looks like we're gonna need two left wingers, by the sounds of it. Not sure who we're bringing in, but
yeah. Well, we've got Stoltzis, the Greek kid. We've got Melier, the goalkeeping backup, and I agree with you. We need a right back. We need a player that can play right back. It's going to be tough to bring a signing in that would be a William Saliba direct replacement, because when William Saliba comes back, he's not going to play very much. So you do need a right back.
And you still need to look probably for a number 2 goalkeeper. I don't think we really have enough. You think he's a number 2?
The amount of goalkeepers that have gone through Arsenal in the last 10 years has been a lot. And I heard Ramsey is still isn't available. Aaron Ramsdale is available. BX said, with the addition of Stoltzis and Bruno, I said we still need a right backup, center back, and attacker. I think we'll look at the right back option, BX, and have enough coverage there combined with Mosquera, Timber, and White. The attacker, I mean, we can talk about the attacker if we're really interested in a Julian Alvarez or something like that. You know what I mean? We're gonna wait for Stan to come back in a second, but Tony,
we need a striker and we need another attacking midfielder.
Okay. People in the chat, would you want to talk about Bruno Guimaraes next, or do you want to talk about Leandro Trossard? A farewell to Leandro Trossard. So let us know in the chat. You get to drive the conversation here. You get to tell us what we should talk about. You want to talk about Bruno Guimaraes, or you want to talk about Leandro Trossard? We will talk about both, but it's just about the sequence. What do you want to do next, Ben, Tony? Bruno or Leandro Trossard?
Well, let's do Trossard.
Let's do Trossard. Okay, kick it off. As you chomp on your Funyuns.
I was, as you know, me and you were very happy when we knew that we were signing him because we were talking about him. I think it was after the Mikhail Mudryk fiasco when he ended up going to Chelsea. We were talking about alternatives, and we both highlighted Trossard at Brighton, and we were both very happy. I remember when it happened.
Yep.
And he's not done too badly, I don't think, for the money that we paid for him. In what people are paying these days for players, I think it was like 27 million, wasn't it?
27 was a snip.
Yeah, and I think he's done very well for us, but I do think that now is the right time to be moving him on.
Yep.
And I wish him all the best. He got a bump in his pay, didn't he, to sort of like show him that that he was valued. We didn't expend the length of the contract because I think we knew that we would be moving him on.
That was deferred until this 26-27 season, so he never received that money.
Oh, okay, even better then. We saved some money.
I think Tony will tell you that he was the third most potent Arsenal player, second or third most potent Arsenal player in the time that he was at the club.
Yeah, I mean, he was a goal assist machine.
Yeah. And every team needs some of those players. The kind of players who have the skill set to be able to enable another player to score goals.
His per 90 on either one was high, and I was looking at one thing, and like on all that stuff, he was in the top 95 percentile up on those type of stats, and that's why I would rather recoup more money from Martinelli, and it looks like he's gonna go anyway. But I'd rather have Trossard there to come on when you need him to, because he could still do a job from a bench. Plus, he's a good mentor to the younger players.
Yeah, definitely. And one Kai Havertz really did love having Trossard on the field because there was a lot of times then where Trossard was able to find Kai Havertz in the box.
That one header was still funny because it's like he delivered it like right here, and he almost still missed it because he wasn't expecting it to be delivered on a silver platter like it was.
Yeah, and that was in the Champions League. So.
And just his football intelligence. That's one of those guys you wish would stay there and earn your coaching badges and stuff. Because he has that IQ, and I imagine he will be one of those type of players that stays around the coaches.
Yes, since you mentioned that, Tony, I would say he's the kind of player who would, once he's finished with his playing days, he might want to be part of a coaching setup. He might want to come back to Arsenal. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, because he definitely loved it. Another thing I loved about him, when he would get subbed off and he thought he could make a difference, he would be pissed off.
Yeah.
When he would get on there and score, he'd be the most enthusiastic player out there. He definitely was a team player, but I like seeing his heart on this leave. Yeah. I mean,
there was no doubt that when he was on the same wing as Mikel Arteta was, there was one or two instances where Mikel would give him the razor treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Because Mikel does love shape and solidity, which from the days of Unai Emery, we remember 30 shots on goal, and we barely get 30 shots in half a season against Arsenal now. The 3 seasons that he was with Arsenal in the Premier League, Leandro Trossard, 23-24 season, 12 goals and 2 assists. So he was more goal machine than assist in that season. And then it became balanced in the 24-25 season when we narrowly uh, missed out. I think it was 8 goals and 7 assists. And then last season, 6 goals and 6 assists. And Stan, I suppose we don't have to dwell too long on Leandro Trossard, but uh, some of the fantastic goals that he did score.
That's just the league too. That doesn't include all the other competitions and stuff.
What's
A
that?
lot more. I said, and that's just the league too. That doesn't include all the competitions where he was.
Yeah,
A lot.
that was just in the league. Yeah, the Champions League. Stan, what's your defining memory of Leandro Trossard?
Um,
Or is there one more than one? You know what I mean?
yeah, coming when he was first with us, he would come off the bench, wouldn't he, and do good things from off the bench. He would just be another warm body. But I do think it is the right time to make that change on the left-hand side because he got 6 goals in the league last season. Martinelli got 1. That's not enough between the both of them. Change does have to be made if we want to be the top team doing, in the top competitions. That left-hand side has let us down contribution-wise, and rightly so. It looks like we're addressing that.
Yeah.
So, as much, I wish him all the best, but if Solis is an upgrade, then why not?
Yeah, we'll have to see how.
We brought in a left winger in Christoph Solis, who had good numbers in the Belgium league. I don't know how that will translate into the Premier League, but.
Well, I think it's going to be somewhat like Doku. Jeremy Doku at Man City. I did not rate him in the first couple of seasons. I think he may have settled in now where he's not as consistent as Man City players or fans would want him to be, but he does show up and score goals sporadically at times. And I think this player might be similar, this Greek player. Leaves the door open maybe for a possible blockbuster. We'll talk about that on the left wing. We'll talk about that a little bit later. A blockbuster entry with possibilities from Real Madrid, maybe. We'll see what happens, right? Bruno. All right, so Leandro Trossard, great goal against West Ham. That's the one we'll remember, right? The goal to seal the title, probably, for us against West Ham. One of the most nerve-wracking games for me watching because you knew we could not slip up. In the end, it was Man City who slipped up. So
I was listening to that at the airport on my way back home from holiday.
Yeah, it was a little bit like a Wiltord moment, So Steven said, "Come on, Ray, you cannot compare the Emery defense to Arteta's defense. Look at the talent difference, Ray. You're better than that." Yeah, I am looking at the talent difference as well. I acknowledge that, Stephen. Well, back in those days, under Unai Emery, we did entertain 20 to 30 goals on target, and happy that Mikel Arteta, even with the worst defense that Mikel Arteta had, though, we weren't encouraging as many shots in goal as Unai Emery. So I will back myself a little bit there.
But even under Wenger, those last few years, we were inviting lots of shots. And Wenger was happy if we'd win 5-4. He was okay with it.
Yeah, and listen, to some extent, we need to morph into that this season as well. I think we need to rely on scoring more goals than actually the fine margins that got us over the line. last season. You know,
And missing Saliba, it's like, can you rely as much on your defense? I know you'd have gummy bears back there in the midfield, but you had Zubamendi, which was plenty good enough. He
missing.
got kind Zubamendi kind of got wore out towards the end of the season, but I mean,
Yeah, I think Saliba is going to be worth the loss of Saliba will be worth about 10 goals over the whole season. I believe. You know, if you don't have Saliba in your lineup, you're not as strong. You have a system in place, but you're not gonna defend or be defensively sound, and you are going to concede a few more goals. Hello, hello. Tony, Saliba was always going to play for us. There you go. The system works. We just need clinical attacking, says BX. And
did
Gary's
did
here.
did,
Hello,
didn't
hello.
know Stan had her cued in on audio talking about Saliba as he enters the room.
Yes. But I actually think that Gabriel Megalegs is one of those players that when you play next to him, I think he makes you a better player. I know that a lot of I'm not downplaying William Saliba's contribution, but for me, Gabriel Megalegs is the heart of our defence,
Yep.
not William. And I think that whoever comes in next to him, it will be a big help that they're playing next to Gabriel Megalegs, and that will help them have better games.
Yeah. But if Saliba is going to miss 30 some games, I hope this doesn't happen. But if he misses 20 or 30 games, we're going to concede 8 to 10 goals just because he's not on the field, in my opinion. Anyway, Bruno Gamars. Let's go to Bruno. There's been a lot of links. Arsenal have been linked to big players this season. Who was it? Who was it at start? Yeah, Morgan Rogers, right? I thought it could happen, but I didn't really want it to happen. Vinny Jr. We'll talk about Vinny Jr. in a little bit. That would be the dream signing for a lot of us. That would be a marquee signing, way beyond Mesut Ozil coming from Real Madrid. I remember.
But do you want all that drama and don't know if I want it all.
Well, you would have to trust. You have to trust that Mikel Arteta can work with him if Vinny Jr. is going to come to the dressing room of Arsenal.
What are we talking about first, Bruno or Vinny?
Bruno. We'll go to Bruno. I was just setting up the. I was just setting the table.
We have a slight detour because of rain.
What I'm saying is Morgan Rogers. I'm happy we missed that one. I'd be really excited if we get Vinny, but Bruno Gamara, Stan, that is the most solid link. It's the most possible link, and the most probable link that he will be an Arsenal player very soon.
The last thing I heard was when I was listening to TalkSport on the way home. They were saying that it's Arsenal putting in a bid in excess of £75 million. So does that mean £75 million and 5 to 10 million in some sort of add-ons or bonuses? Who knows? Yeah. That was the last thing. That was just on my way home, what they're saying. And it looks like that deal is going to get done. It has to be done before the weekend, I think. But it's a bit of people like Newcastle, right? The manager, Eddie Howe, little Lord Fauntleroy, has packed his bag and left.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you're going to spend that kind of money, I'd rather spend that money. I know that people he's 29 or almost 29 or whatever. I don't really care. I'm looking at now. We've got ourselves into a really unique situation. We're kind of in the driving seat, and you can't take your foot off the accelerator. And if it means that we have to sacrifice a youth player in, let's say, for example, Ethan Waneri, who we'd make a lot of profit on because he's come through our ranks, in order to have a transfer window where, let's say, for example, we've got in Bruno, Vini, and let's say we even got, let's even dare to dream, we've got in Julian Alvarez as well. Maybe someone else to help out in defence because of the Saliba problem. And that was our window. But in that window, we had to sacrifice and sell Ethan Waneri. I could live with that because those players that we're looking at now, the kind of pool that we shop in, it's got smaller because of the bigger that we're getting. The players available are smaller because we're now looking at elite players, which is what we should be doing.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
you know, Ethan Waneri is not maybe for now, and he can go off. He can be sold. He can play week in, week out somewhere else, and then if he does hit the heights that people think that he may hit, it doesn't mean that sometime down the road, when we are, you know, have been in the driving seat and maybe, who knows, hopefully won a Champions League, retained a Premier League title, which, you know, improves our stature. Who knows? Maybe an Ethan Waneri can come back to us later on down the road, and it doesn't mean that, you know, instead of us being the club where we bring players in, or we sign young players, and they learn their trade at Arsenal, and then we have to sell them just when they're going to hit their peak. Maybe it can be the other way around now, where we are bringing in players from other places that are now about to hit their peak, or are ready-made, you know, good footballers like a Bruno Gummy Bears, because a Bruno is a player for now. And if you're looking at trying to retain the Premier League title and go one better in the Champions League, bringing in players like Bruno, Vini, Alvarez, these are players for today. And I'm happy with that. If it means we have to sacrifice someone like an Ethan Waneri, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But this is where we should be shopping now. You know, we don't shop at Marks and Spencer's anymore. We shop at Harrods. We have to shop at Harrods.
It's like when
they want to maintain the status that we've got ourselves into, the position that we've got ourselves into. So when I hear us being linked with players, the players that we're being linked with, for me, I'm like, well, we're showing ambition. We're actually showing some ambition. This is where Arsenal wants to be. And it's coming all the way from the top. It's even coming above Mikel Arteta. Everyone seems to be on the same page. So if we're going to spend around 80 million for Bruno, I'm all for it. Because he's one of the top midfielders in this league.
As BX said here, Bruno's the kind of signing Ferguson or Jose Mourinho would have made to strengthen for another title. We've won the league before. We won the league in the 80s and the 90s and the beginning of the century, but we never repeated. We won the leagues against Liverpool twice in the 80s and the early 90s. Didn't win in between because we were up against Liverpool. We've been up against Manchester United and Chelsea and not repeated. We have an outstanding, I would say, looking at the landscape of the Premier League right now, we have an outstanding opportunity to do it this time, to get off to a great start. World Cup injuries and World Cup fatigue notwithstanding, go out and strengthen, and win it again.
There's a very big but there, though, Ray. You have to use all the tools. You can't use Norgard more in the last Premier League game, the entire season in the Premier League. That can't happen.
Yeah, you gotta look at the whole of our squad. Don't you're trying to lift up what would be seen as the weakest of our squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Norgard would have did plenty good enough to give.
I think definitely. I'm talking about giving Declan Rice 6 weeks off. I'm giving Bukayo Saka 5 or 6 weeks off. Eze could come back. He's pretty fresh. But looking at the
yeah, but he could have gave Zubamende a week off or 2 weeks off. But he didn't. And he needed that in February, March when he started dying off, and he kind of regained his form in April and May, but still when he was...
I think arguably arguably winning of the league was resting Zubimendi after the Bournemouth game when he had made that mistake, mentally taking him out of the firing line. You know, in the
Yeah,
last.
but you seen what he did the next game, right?
So
Got got a game winner after he made his mistake.
I'm looking at a Man City team that's still going to be pretty good, but they won't have Pep Guardiola in the hot seat. They'll have a lesser quantity. I'm looking at a Liverpool who have to get some things corrected before they can be challenging. And most pundits are talking about Chelsea and Xabi Alonso as being our main competition now. And we know that we're at least 4 wins better than them at the end of the season. So,
I
yeah,
think
we
what
have
people are talking about
possibilities.
Chelsea is because they don't have any Europe, right? So they've only got one game a week,
Right.
which can be very helpful, right?
It can be helpful. Yeah. But I don't think that they have the quality. They might be a cohesive unit after Christmas. You know what I mean? But there's going to be a few months of it's going to be important, Stan and Tony, because you got these first 2 months are going to be about jockeying, about positioning, and and seeing where these teams mark up against each other. And will Tottenham be better? Not that Tottenham are going to win the league, but will they be better than mid table under De Zerbi? Who's going to be the surprise package coming out of the teams that came up? You know,
Well, they're buying, aren't they? I mean, they've made Sandro Tonali their highest paid player. They usually are quite frugal when it comes to wages, but they've kind of broke their ceiling a little bit with Tonali. I think Savinho from Man City is on his way to Tottenham as well. So that they are, they are strengthening. And, both of those players ain't too shabby, to be fair. I'm not sure if they've signed anyone else, but
Robertson from Liverpool.
Robertson as well. So, a
Yeah.
bit of experience in there as well. So they are trying to improve, and maybe De Zerbi can get a better tune out of them.
So let's go back to Newcastle. Newcastle have shed a lot of players. Anthony Gordon's gone to Barcelona. You just mentioned Tonali went to Spurs. They lost
Isaac?
Isak went to Liverpool last season, and they have a similar Isak coming up right now under Bruno Guimaraes. So, Newcastle really hurting, and Bruno Guimaraes is 28, 29 years old, and I think he's mentioned it himself. He wants to start winning the big titles now.
Well, Zach, I mean, put yourself in his position. I mean, we were looking at him when he went to Newcastle, but they went in there. They got the richest. Apparently, on paper, their owners are the richest owners.
It's not apparent. They have 80% of the wealth of the entire league. So
Yeah,
that's how dominant they are on
they
the
brought him
coffers.
in. They paid him a very good wage. They told him about the project, but then they got handcuffed a bit. And if you're Bruno, it's like, how many times do you want me? How much have I got to be here for a rebuild? Because this will be his third rebuild.
Yeah.
His third rebuild, and he was supposed to be coming in as the initial rebuild to go on and do good things, right? And as you say, he's not getting any younger.
Right.
He served Newcastle very well, but his clock's ticking. And you've got the club that's in the driving seat, being Arsenal. They want to come in for you, and when he was at the World Cup, if you're Bruno Guimaraes, Gummy Bears, right, you're going to be saying to people like Martinelli and Gabriel Megalegs, who just won the league, so what's it like at Arsenal? You'll be picking their brains, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be trying to get an understanding of what it's like there, and they're probably only saying good things.
Yeah.
They're only saying good things. So
remember. You remember Cesc Fabregas? Of course, you all remember Cesc Fabregas. 2010, 2008, 2011, whatever it was. The World Cup would come around, and he would be hanging out with the Barca boys, and they would make comments about, he's got the Barca DNA. It's only a matter of time. And then they actually put a shirt on him. They put a Barcelona shirt on him,
right.
when he was an Arsenal player. So we felt nervous about Cesc Fabregas back
Ah,
then. I'm sure Newcastle fans feel nervous about Bruno Guimaraes at the World Cup with Arsenal players in that squad as well, and you know the inevitable conversations about having just won the Premier League. How does that feel? Let's see your medals. You know what I mean? And what is London all about? So um, definite.
But
Big,
he's a very good player, and I think he's a very different player to Declan Rice. Here's a stat for you: in all of the time that Declan Rice has played in the Premier League, he's made 7 through balls.
from
That's
Bruno.
not, that's not just playing for Arsenal. That's playing for West Ham as well.
Yeah,
He's put through 7 through balls,
yeah,
whereas Bruno has put in just over 60.
yeah.
So they're very different styles of players, but
And
I think that both
nice.
of those players are quite versatile. Bruno can play deeper, he can play or he can play as a box to box as well, and I think Declan can do the same. So it's going to be interesting to see the variations. There'll probably be times when they'll both be on the pitch, but they don't necessarily have to both be on the pitch at the same time. Maybe one starts, and with our 5 substitutions later on in the game, the other one can come on and give the other one a rest. A couple of games later, the other one starts, and vice versa,
Yeah.
depending on. It gives us great flexibility, and hopefully it means that both Bruno and Rice and Zubamendi, just to pick those 3 out, don't have to get run into the ground, because there can be a lot of sharing, a lot of moving around, a lot of different parts. You know what I mean? A lot of different combinations.
yeah.
Yeah. Bruno in the 8 and Rice in the 6 as BX gunner, and of course Bruno's got a good eye for the through ball. You know what I mean? Sean has joined us. Sean Bielen.
Hey, Sean.
Evening, gents. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, we're
Eh,
doing good. We're back. It's a new season.
I'll be right back.
You'd have to say the season starts now, right, Tony? Season
Yep.
starts now. 3 weeks till the start of the season.
And you would have never known by the way we play, but we still led the league in through balls. And Tony, myself, always asking for more through balls.
We
Oh,
won the league on through balls. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, we had more through balls than anybody.
That I mean, there's something to having more possession than other teams, and then if
But
you have
but
more possession,
but
you have
but
possibility.
but it still doesn't seem like we passed the ball
No,
into open space and ran
no.
onto it.
The
I
one thing
I
we're gonna
I
the one thing,
I know Trossard likes them, Gabrielle likes them. Other than that, it
yeah.
didn't seem like we did that many. But
Um, yeah, we're all gonna like a good set piece here and there, but I would like more sustained, continuous
open play goals.
open play goals. Exactly. And
Why
more
did that
goals.
word? Why did that word come out of kind of a football lexicon? Because for a long time, you always heard that you're open play goals. Then it went away for a long time. You didn't hear it. It's kind of like the per 90 on the
Feel-
goals
I
and
feel
assists
that
and stuff.
I feel that open play goals came back into it as a stick to beat Arsenal with, because they were scoring off of set plays and
Yeah,
not.
but we weren't even leading the league in set play goals. So
We were leading. Yeah, yeah. We did
that
pretty well last season. We did pretty well.
at,
Now I would have
at
liked
times we weren't.
I would have liked to been greedy and won one of those finals that we were in. We were in 2 finals, and we didn't win either one of them. So
One of
um,
them didn't matter, right? Right.
one of them didn't matter, and the other we didn't have enough possession. You got to put your hand in your heart and say we weren't good enough, but we didn't work the goal.
We were good enough. We were too beat up. We
The
didn't use our tools to
penalties,
rest our
Tony,
players throughout the season.
all I ask Tony is when you take a penalty, is you put it on target. You don't go outside of the frame. You know what I mean? And then
No.
you're asking the goalkeeper to make a very, very good save from 8 yards out or 12 yards out.
Yeah.
BX said, I can see Wissa jumping ship if another club comes sniffing. Yeah, Sean's talking about Jazel here. We'll get to that. I think that's how you pronounce it. How peaked with the cup. They all knew it was nothing short of a miracle to those players. You had Alexander. They had Alexander Isak who was taking chances. He was probably actually playing for his move away as well. Alexander Isak. He wanted to go to Liverpool. Scored the goals, got the move, and got injured next season. The things I want Arsenal to do this summer is to spend the money more wisely than Liverpool did last summer and spend it on players who will fit into the team. That's what scared me about Morgan Rogers, to be honest. If we were going to spend a lot of money on Morgan Rogers, just didn't see how it fit for me. We still have an opportunity with Bruno to spend some good money in good places and potentially on the left wing as well. We'll save that till toward the end. Sean said, Geisel, the new manager, is a good coach. Won the league with RB Salzburg and back-to-back AFC Champions League. He was on my list for Arteta replacements if we were considering a new manager. So it does strike me, Stan, that they have a new manager in place already, Newcastle.
Yeah, who is it?
I think it's a German manager with RB Salzburg, maybe Austrian, but part of well known by the owners and appointed, put in place already.
They moved very
So
quickly.
yeah, I mean it could have been very quickly, or maybe Newcastle knew that Eddie Howe was going to step down. So the news of Bruno Guimaraes wanting to leave and pleading with the club to let him go. It might have been percolating for a few days, and things only seem to move so quickly today with Eddie Howe stepping down and a new manager in place.
It can't be good if you're losing one of your best players, right?
Yeah. The thing that I like about Bruno Guimaraes as well is that he is tactically aware. Do you remember when Eze scored that goal against Newcastle and we did that short corner routine? It was still set play, right? But we scored the goal. After Eze scored that great goal and we win the game 1-0, but Bruno's going around. This happened once, this happened twice, this happened 3 times. And you guys on the sideline didn't see this happening. He was aware of the way Arsenal were positioning players to get that opportunity, because Eze had an opportunity like that just before. So what we're potentially going to get with Bruno is you've already extolled some of his virtues, Dan, but we're going to get an intelligent midfield player who knows the game inside and out and can only make us better. As you said, he's going to make players beside him better. He's going to demand more from them. You know what I mean? I've seen him for Newcastle demanding more out of the players. He actually when you think of Newcastle and you think of going to Newcastle, it's a very, very tough place to go. Bruno Guimaraes on the field makes the players around him play harder and play stronger. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
some of that Newcastle had will potentially be getting at Arsenal.
I thought you were mentioning weather there, Ray. You like using that excuse?
Pushing Odegaard, pushing Eze forward. The weather is a factor.
He's one of those players that when you have to go and play against him, you can't stand him. But as soon as you hear the news that he's coming to your club, all is forgiven.
Yeah, all's
Because
forgiven.
you know what you're getting, you know what he's bringing, and you know that it's going to be, it's an upgrade.
The things we didn't like, right? When he was walking by, who did he put an elbow into? Odegaard, was it, or Havertz?
I remember, but I can't remember the player.
Yeah. But I think Havertz exacted a little bit revenge in that game as well.
Come on, Ray. We like with dark arts around here.
Bruno can chip in with some goals as well. He does. He does score a few goals each season as well. So, anything else to say about Bruno? Really,
Should have got him sooner.
3 or 4 years ago. Yeah,
Yep.
water under the bridge.
I still hated it how they said a player could upset the project if you went and bought it that window. But that would have easily got us into a Champions League. And the whole season, our Arsenal would not say what their target was. And at the end of the year, they finally said our target was top six. Even though you could have bought a player that got you into a top four, got you back in the Champions League, but you didn't do it.
Undoubtedly, would have sped up.
And,
Would have sped up the process. Undoubtedly.
and we've went for him a couple of times since then. It's like, why didn't you do it when you had an easy chance to do it?
Well, money talks. I mean, you said it, Tony. I mean, it was probably the contract. He's probably getting paid pretty well. I don't know. I don't really look at the wages. I don't know what he's being paid at Newcastle, but I'm sure he was being offered a lot of money to go to Newcastle, more than Arsenal were willing to pay at the time. Stan, we also missed out on Alexander Isak. He went to Newcastle, around the same period. I wonder what we would have looked like with Bruno and Alexander Isak over the last 3-4 years at Arsenal.
Well, he played 29 games last season in the Premier League and got 9 goals and 5 assists. Just looking here.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when you have a poor team, the best players shine and pick up the load. So he took up the slack of some of the goal scorers not scoring. So he got 9 goals in that period and quite a few assists as well.
6.
So, yeah. He won't be required to do as much of the goal scoring at Arsenal, we think, but he will chip in. You know what I mean? Sean has an answer for Tony. Here we go. Tony, I think that year we were looking to sign his midfield partner, Auer from Leon, as
I remember that.
which was a mistake, and we ended up not getting Auer either. Yeah, I remember that player. I mean, the old one goes, right? Julian Draxler, he's another one.
Yeah.
All of these names that Arsenal were continually linked to for season after season for a few seasons.
Rabiot.
Also, Adrian Rabiot, yeah. And we didn't ultimately get the players. You know what I mean? So probably, I think Stan mentioned, we're not going to hold you to this, Stan, but I think you mentioned by the weekend this could be wrapped up.
I think the player said that he wanted it wrapped up by
Okay.
The end of this week before I think the pre-season at Newcastle begins.
Okay. And we talked about Declan Rice being banjaxed from the World Cup. Mikel Merino is going to be a candidate for midfield. Bruno Guimaraes will also be a candidate if we bring him in to start in midfield alongside Zubimendi. So the first few months will be about trying to get that what do you call that, cohesiveness, where a new player comes in and sort of interacts with the team and we start to see some combinations happening, All right, we're going to jump to the left wing. Bruno Guimaraes, potentially an Arsenal player this weekend, hopefully. And then 3 weeks to the season, but Arsenal would need to start looking at their next acquisition. Tony is new that maybe Martinelli could be sold. I think there's some news about Martinelli potentially being sold. If he goes with Trossard, that really means, Stan, we have an opening on the left wing.
Yeah, I was reading about Martinelli, and I think it said something like, he's only going to go if it's a move that, really suits him. He's not being pushed out.
Yeah.
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 Kind of a thing.
Look at his wages, though. That's why he answers the question that way.
180, right? I think he's on
No,
100.
it's 2 something. I'm pretty sure.
Martinelli's being looked at by Roma, says John. Our team moves with class. Bruno will fit right in. Yeah, I'm quite happy with Bruno coming as one of the big additions this summer. Okay, Vinicius Jr. got your attention, right? Vinicius Jr.'s got your attention. What do you think's going on over at Real Madrid, Stan?
Well, we should be having these conversations, right? This is where we are now. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are saying, well, we need to improve on the left wing, when you look at Vini Jr, that's as high as you can go on that position. There is no better. There's no upgrading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was looking at his stats the other day, and I'll bring them up.
I mean, I was going to about to look at the stats, but I would imagine they're pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good. So last season in 36 games, this is just in the La Liga, not Champions League, 16 goals, 5 assists.
Wow.
That's in 36 games. Season before that, 30 games, 11 goals, 8 assists. And then season before that, 26 games, 15 goals, 4 assists.
Okay.
Champions League last season, 14 matches, 5 goals, 6 assists.
Yeah.
Year before that, 12 appearances, 8 goals, 2 assists. Apparently, he is like the second highest scoring Brazilian player. Or he might be the first. It's between him and Neymar in the Champions League, ever.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting.
These are stats better than a goal. What do you call it? A goal interaction or every other game. A goal involvement every other game. So you play 2 games, he's either going to score a goal or give you an assist.
There was another stat where it was something like in Real Madrid's games, he's like 91% of the goals. The action. That's its importance. Whereas Martinelli was something like 22 at Arsenal.
Yeah,
it's a huge difference. So I know, the arguments are, well, he doesn't track back. Well, I'm pretty sure that he does help out a little bit defensively. I don't think that he stands just above the halfway line, and then when we're in a defensive situation and the whole team runs back, he just stands there with his arms folded and doesn't move again until the whole team moves back and is now onside. I'm pretty sure that, he might not be going in with tackles, but he's making himself available in those situations where if there's an out ball, he's available and he can just tear off of it. And you don't want, when have you ever seen wingers that make really good tackles? They usually get a red card. They usually go herring into a tackle, make a balls up of it, and end up getting, booked for it.
Yeah.
And then the other argument that you hear is that, will he bring, the baggage? And, but people never tell you what that means. What does that mean, the baggage? Are you saying that because he's outspoken? Well, he's had to be outspoken because he plays in Spain and he's had to face a lot of problems from opposition crowds, and he's had to stick up for himself, right? It's not baggage. Yes, he does have a huge. If you're saying, does baggage mean that he's going to come with a lot of media attention? Well, of course he is. There was a time not so long ago where he was considered the best player in the world, not just in this position. So players like that, they do have a lot of media and a bit of a circus around them. But when you're buying a player, you kind of want that, because that means that there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities. There's a lot of off-pitch opportunities by having someone marketable like that. At Real Madrid, I think he only gets something like 30% of his image rights. He could come to Arsenal and get a better percentage, and that would help him with the amount of money that would cost. There's lots of options that can be done. So when people say baggage, okay, when he gets substituted off, he might wave his arms about, but I'd rather him do that and come off just smiling. Yeah, whatever. I want him to care. So when people say baggage, I think they're really they never define what they mean.
Yeah.
You know, he's obviously you know, yes, there was some of this. Who knows what happened with the Xabi Alonso stuff? We don't know. There was obviously some unrest between manager and players. But when we bought Leandro Trossard, he was exiled from the Brighton team because he'd had a fallout of some sort with the manager. And that's why we took the market opportunity and brought in Trossard. And, you know, yeah, he can be a little bit feisty, but he wasn't a problem. He wasn't a bad apple. He didn't disrupt the changing room and cause a rift. He picked up a Premier League champion winners medal and got himself to the final of a Champions League final, right? Which he probably thought was well out of his reach. When you're at Brighton, you probably think that's not on the cards for my future. So with the Vini Jr. thing, I think that from what I heard, right, he's on 15 million euros a year. And I think Real Madrid have offered him 20. He wants 30. I don't know how true that is, but do Real Madrid want him to go on a free next year? Probably not. You know, they probably don't want that to happen. And I was reading some weeks ago as well that if, you know, as an incentive, Real Madrid would even consider giving him something out of the transfer fee as a sweetener rather than leaving it free. But there's all different stories, and you know, from what I can gather, contact has been made between player and Real Madrid are aware of the interest. I don't know how if there's been any talks, but Real Madrid is not. You know, Real Madrid is a team that we've done business with in the past. We've managed to do good business. We took Ozil away on good terms. The same with players on loan that we've taken. Ceballos, Suarez, Odegaard, which then turned into a permanent move.
Yeah.
So there is a history between the clubs. It's not like there's a whole relationship. I think there is there's an opportunity that it could get done. Does Vini Jr. want to be on the same money as Mbappe? Would Real Madrid benefit that? And could it be a case a little bit like when Neymar decided to leave Barcelona and go to France? He wanted to be in his own spotlight. You know, he didn't want to be under the spotlight of other players. Maybe, you know, Vini Jr. has won everything there is to win at Real Madrid. You know, he's won the La Liga successfully, more than one occasion, a couple of Champions Leagues. He could come to Arsenal, write a new chapter, experience London, and be the main man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you're on to something there, Stan.
He could be the main man, and sometimes a player, they might like that. You know, we know that he has a thorny relationship with the new manager, Jose Mourinho. And I've heard two things. I've heard Jose Mourinho would like him to stay, but I've also heard from other people, you know, around online that Mourinho doesn't see him in his plans. Who knows? You know, this is that silly season, right? There's a lot of stories that go around.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's doable.
It's not so far fetched as you've opened up the discussion, Stan. It's not so far fetched because, you know, professional footballers, they sit at home as well and they watch the Champions League final, and they've seen Arsenal play PSG and take them all the way to penalties. And, you know, sometimes players can actually see themselves in that team and maybe adopt that team as a project, if Arsenal is indeed a project.
Did you see
and you go ahead, Steph.
I was just say one more thing. Did you see there was a video clip going around when we played Madrid, not last season, the season before, in the Champions League when we done them, and it's inside underneath the pitch kind of area, you know, like in the tunnel, and basically you've got Vini Jr. asking Bellingham to go and get Rice's shirt for him.
Nice.
He knows him obviously through England and that. You know, Vini Jr. wanted a Rice shirt.
And Rice had those 2 free kicks against Real Madrid. Let's not forget that as well. So it's not so far fetched that Real Madrid players might think they Arsenal are growing past the aura of Real Madrid right now in Europe, and so years gone by, it'd be like Arsenal couldn't touch Real Madrid, but in this current European stage and environment, um, we're just as good as Real Madrid, if not better, right now in Europe. We could safely say we're in the top echelons of Europe because what we've done the last 2, 3 seasons. We've hit semifinals, we've hit finals, we've hit quarterfinals. Tony, go ahead.
It's because it's actually a league now. You have the league phase of the Champions League.
Yeah,
Makes a big difference. And what I thought was interesting is the rumors that Arsenal's ownership group has basically bypassed Real Madrid and are directly contacting the player and his entourage.
you're
Because
going to get a lot of stories.
there's been no contact between Arsenal and Real Madrid at this point. It's been basically Arsenal trying to sell a project to him and a wage and all other stuff that comes with that. But
And that seems to be the way we've operated with Bruno Guimaraes as well. Before the club spoke directly, you do. I think
but
it's
but but Bruno was pretty vocal that that was kind of his dream move. So
yeah. So I think looking overall at this whole Vinny Jr. situation, I think the player, hand on heart, the player maybe wants to stay at Real Madrid and explore the possibility to stay there, but he does need some reassurances in a new contract, right,
but
Stan?
Well, if
Tony?
they have a model that they don't want to break, as I understand it, some sort of structure,
Okay.
they don't want to break. So, I really, all I can say is that these are the kind of conversations that we should be having, and it's interesting as well that when we're hearing about this, we're hearing that it's been signed off at all levels. That the ownership aren't going, well, are you sure about this? They're like, yeah, we're fully behind this. This is where we
Well,
need to be. These are the kind of players that we want to be talking to.
yeah.
That's a very good sign.
You know what? You know what?
It shows a lot of ambition, though, doesn't it? It shows very
Yeah.
good ambition from the ownership.
You know what is comforting as well? That Arsenal fans now understand Josh Kroenke, and it's much easier to see Josh Kroenke as the head of the whole overall project than maybe Stan Kroenke. Like they relate more to Josh Kroenke. He's talked about Arsenal, and he's talked about it intelligently. That the English supporter, most specifically, will have gotten behind him and gotten behind the Cronkies because they're no longer seen as, the American owners who don't know what they're talking about. Now they're the American owners who have adopted the culture, let's say, and the understanding the fabric of the club as well and speaking intelligently about it. I think that speaks volumes.
You only have to look at our owners in the Cronkies to Manchester United's owners in the Glaziers, and it's completely opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You've got one set of owners that try to use the club as a cash cow for taking money out, dividends, and you've got others that are trying to, make us really successful and allowing the manager to spend money. Yes, he doesn't. They don't just throw money in. There's a self-sustaining model, but it's working, right? To say that, the way that they've talked about this Vinny Jr. thing, they're showing that they've got ambition.
Ambition.
They're not doing
we all want.
it's not coming out quietly. It's basically like, we would like to have this guy. I mean,
That's all they want. That's all the fans want is to show the ambition, not the quotes that were going around 10 years ago. Of, well, you wouldn't be involved in this stuff to win things. But, that kind of the stand comment.
and as much as they say, we were hearing that Morgan Rogers is, Mikel Arteta's number one target. A player is only really worth how much you think that the buying manager wants to spend. And they obviously, as much as he liked Morgan Rogers, they didn't feel that 117 was where they wanted to go. You know, it wasn't a case of we put a bid in for Morgan Rogers, Chelsea came in and gazumped us, and then we just, you know, we missed out. I think Arsenal decided, you know, had an opportunity to match that, to maybe do something else, and they decided no.
Yeah,
and I don't have a problem with that. And I would also go as far as to say that my preference would be, you know, why would we want to get Morgan Rogers, who's more of a central player that can play wide, rather than, if we know that we have this problem wide on the left-hand side, isn't it better to get a specialist for that position that can play, that can maybe play in other positions, but they can play in that position first, rather than the other way around, saying, a great attacking midfielder that can play on the wing. I'd rather have a great winger that can play elsewhere if needed, because we have a specialist in that position.
And I like the way that we've looked at the overall picture. Yes, Bruno Guimaraes is a great overall player that's going to make us, he's going to make us better in the long run. But he's also going to allow cover for the casualties of the World Cup.
But here's another thing as well. If you're Vini Jr. and you're looking at your options, you've seen that Arsenal have just won the league. You know that Martinelli's there. Okay, he might not be there for longer, but you got Gabriel Megalegs there. And then you're sitting around and you're hearing Bruno's going there as well. Wow, man, it's all happening at Arsenal. Bruno's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll have some of that. Maybe there's a revolution going. It's like a mini Brazilian revolution going on. It could be a good indicator. You're thinking, you know, okay.
So the more that you think about it, the more that we talk about it tonight, the more that I personally could be convinced that it could happen. You know what I mean? Because Arsenal are a good team in Europe. There's a lot of Brazilian players there. Vini Jr. has achieved a lot at Real Madrid. He probably won the league, right?
One thing you're forgetting is you also have Berta that can sell the players on the project as well.
Yeah. See, that's a positive. I'm glad you have a positive thing to say, Tony. So,
I always have positive shit to say, right? What are you talking about?
You stay in the dark areas a lot, and I like when you come to the light and say, yes, this could happen because of Andrea Berta as well, who did bits last season. Now this is the next new level, right?
My only problem with Andrea Berta is that let's say for example we need a striker, right? Let's say that's a position, or let's say left winger. We all know we need a left winger. Berta goes out because there's a lot of this now. It's, you know, you don't talk to the club first anymore. It's all done through intermediaries. So you know, Berta speaks to a left winger. He speaks to, I don't know, Kvaratskhelia people. Kvaratskhelia go back to him and say, Arsenal have been on the horn. Oh yeah, they want to know if you'd be interested. And then they have a chat between the intermediaries, and then the player knows, okay, this is how much they're going to pay me. These are what the bonuses will be. This is what, you know what I mean? That's all ironed out. And then you try to sell this project to Kvaratskhelia, and then instead of going to speak to PSG, you then go to Spain and you start speaking to Vini Jr. and you do the same thing. And I just think that a lot of people liked it. Oh yeah, they're speaking to all these players. But I'm like, if I was, let's say I was a left winger that Bert would come and spoken to, you know, made me feel that Arsenal really wanted me. My intermediaries are coming back. I'm telling them how much, they're telling me how much they'd like to pay. I'm saying, yeah, okay, the negotiations go well. And I'm like, wow, I really want to go to Arsenal. And then instead of them going to my club, they go and speak to another left winger. I'd be thinking to myself, I thought you loved me. I thought I was the one you loved. You loved that guy. And now next week you're going to that other guy. And I don't know whether that, you know, we all say, don't we, that we only want a player to come to Arsenal if they really want to. But you must go the other way as well. Do they really want me? Because they're speaking to like 6 left wingers here and getting all of the terms. They're getting all of the terms done. And there's maybe another club that's circling. You're thinking to yourself, well, this other club is circling. Do I say yes? Do I put them off? What do I do now? And then you wake up a couple of weeks later and you find out that you're not the one being signed. They've signed Christoph Solis. And you're like, oh, right. You see what I mean? I'm not sure if that way of Berta courting all of these people can
Yeah.
sometimes be a little bit not as constructive. We're
I
not showing enough love. We're just like you. We talk to you. And these players are like, well, you know what I mean? Is it me or not?
I wonder.
It happens all the time, Stan, between
I don't know.
everybody.
With this Berta way seems to be very different, doesn't it? This way of that Berta's doing it. He speaks to loads of players. He speaks to nearly every player in the world.
He's been doing it since he was 14 years old. When he was in secondary school, he was chatting up two birds at one time, and he had his options lined up. Well, I might go to the prom with you, but I've got an option over here. So you wait and see, and I'll let you know what happens, right?
Yeah.
He might end up.
On prom night, there's one girl sat in her house by the door with her dress on, with her little flowers, and no car pulls up. No car. No one comes to collect her. Berta's gone with the other bird.
Meanwhile, Stan, there's one car. You see 3 sets of legs up, and
Oh, Tony.
Berta's having his way with all 3 of them.
Tony's certainly going positive now. If Somerville is being sold for 80 million, how much should we get for Martinelli? Do we undervalue the players that are outgoing, or is it about moving the wages? You know,
Well, we still haven't broken our. Who's our biggest sale? It's still Iwobi, isn't it?
45, something like that. Yeah.
You know, are we ever going to? You know, and you look at the sort of what players are going for. Are we ever going to break that? We're going to get. I mean, Iwobi was ages ago. That was a long time ago.
We should be able to do that. We should be able to do that. Vinny is a dream signing, says BX. Would be like winning the lottery. All big players have baggage and egos, but they deliver at game time. Yeah. Listen, the manager, that's what the name of the manager is, to manage the players, manage the players. For me, it's a matter of preference. I like Cavara more, but Vinny Jr. is the only other left-wing player of that level, and I'd be ecstatic to see him in that new bruised banana-inspired away kick. There is another left-winger that I would be interested in. He is a Barcola. I would be interested in a Barcola as well.
They keep talking about Liverpool, don't they? It seems that he's always being talked about at Liverpool. But just going back to when people were saying about baggage, I used to work for this company. I was in the sales department, and I was in the top 2% of the salespeople on the sales floor. I never showed up for the morning meetings at 9 o'clock. I never showed up for them. I showed up at about 10. Sometimes I'd show up and everyone would be stood at the front of the office who worked on the floor. The manager would be in front of them doing his morning meeting, and the door to come into the office was right there, and I would come in. He'd be talking, he'd stop, and I would just walk in between everyone else and him, just walk through and just go and do my desk, and he'd just watch, and then he'd carry on with the meeting. And he'd say to me sometimes, he'd say, "You are a little bit high maintenance." He goes, "But," he goes, "you are a top producer. So if I want to leave early, I just leave. If I come in back 10, it doesn't matter, because I would put in, the amount of work that three of them could do."
Yeah.
I was given leeway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wasn't cocky, I wasn't mouthy, but I did, my hours, my lunches would be longer if I wanted. Sometimes I might not show up to 11, leave at 2, at 3. But I was, I was allowed that. And then sometimes you have that with a player, right? If you've got your best player and he turns up late a couple of times, are you going to punish him and not play him on Saturday? And he's your best player. You're going to leave him out of the team. If you're going to play him and he scores a brace, then it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
There's a culture.
And the teammates should know that. The teammates should be like, yeah, I have to come to the meetings, but I can't do what he does. The day I can do what he does, then I don't have to come to these fucking meetings.
I don't know. I think culture matters, and I think that you have to, within reason, you have to stay within the lines of the rest of the group.
Look at Ledley King when Ledley King, who had really bad problems with his legs and that, didn't he? When he was at Tottenham. He didn't train. He played his game on Saturday, but he didn't really train. I guarantee you, all the other players weren't going, why do I have to come to training when he doesn't?
If you have a physical impediment like that, like Paul McGrath was like that at the end of his career as well.
Well,
for
what
asking
about
that,
when
Ireland.
Maradona went to play? I think it was for Napoli. They would have their training regimes in the mornings, however many times a week it was. And Maradona said, you have to have the training in the afternoons. I can't get up that early. He goes out at night, right? He's out. And they moved the training schedule to accommodate him. And I
Yeah.
guarantee you that
Wow.
the other players were too busy like, fuck me, we play with Maradona.
That's
Fucking
of course.
Maradona. The things he does on the pitch, the reason that we're winning is because of that guy. So
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah. There's a few select players that you would indulge, right?
Ray, you just reminded me when I did the musical theme thing where you let me choose the topics, and I did a culture club, and I can't remember what one of those segment was,
Yeah.
but
That was that image. The image. We did we hired a PR team, right? Didn't we do that? Arsenal.
yeah,
I'll get back into
that,
comments here.
that's how we ended up with that stupid fucking song I still fucking hate.
Yeah. 100% image rights alone gives him the 10 million he's asking for that Madrid are not willing to give. Add that to, I think, the sale of Trossard and possibly Martinelli, and Jesus frees up more of our wage bill. Yeah.
The only problem is, as I say, Martinelli and Jesus have time, and if no suitable offers come in, it's all well and good. A team from Brazil coming in for Jesus, and he wants to go back and play in Brazil, but they're going to pay him 150 grand a week less, and he's like, I've still got time in this contract.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to just say I'm not leaving. You just come out and say I still believe I've got something to offer Arsenal, and I'm willing to fight for my place. You can't say anything to someone that has that. It's not like he's saying, I'm not going to go to that club because I want to stay here and earn more money. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So that's the problem. I mean, Jesus is being paid, 250 a week? Around there, I think.
260, I believe.
Okay, but you're not getting that in Brazil. You're not going to get that in Brazil. They just don't. I work with a Brazilian guy.
Especially because he wants to go back to Palmeiras, and he's not going to get anything near that from them.
Sean goes on to say, even we sold Martinelli and Jesus, he also speaks Spanish, so we have Heinze, Gamares, and Gabriel who speak Portuguese, and all our Spanish contingent to help him feel at home. That's Vinny. Arsenal are in a new stratosphere. These are the conversations we have to have. If Liverpool got Wirtz and Isak last season, we got to do similar or better, and have them work in the team. The Kroenke's truly weathered the storm to get us here. And that's the thing I want to say about that. The Kroenkes wouldn't be seen in such a good light if we did not have all aspects of the organization working. So we identify the right players and we win games on the field. When you win games on the field, you tell yourself the owners are doing a good job because the owners have put people in place to make sure the mechanism works correctly.
It's quite, if you've got to think about it when it comes to the owners, right? We've gone from fucking all out war and protests to literally being led into the land of milk and honey.
Yeah. Following Josh. And, I truly believe, and I think this is what it is. Every Arsenal fan believes he's as big a fan as we are of the team.
It's infectious.
And it is infectious. Yeah. And when you, as fans, when you believe the owners have the same intention that you do, then you're right behind them. You know what I mean? Ambition. Yeah. Ambition.
I was looking at low wages, and I know this has been true for a while, but if you're mega legs, you're making 150 grand a week. You have Saliba making 250,000 a week.
Wow, I thought he was on more, and contract time will come up.
And, no, he signed like 4 contracts since he's been with us.
He's a bit like Tony Adams used to be like.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just they put it in front of him. He signs it.
Yep. Tony Adams
but
was doing that as well. The only thing
but
BX is that I hope that we don't end up like the rest of their teams who won a championship, then have failed to do so again. Of course, American sports is different.
so Jesus is 265.
You should.
You
I
have
got that next one.
you have Saka that's anywhere between 300,000 and 365, depending who you listen to.
The footy cycle has finally swung around to Arsenal once again. You have to mechanize that cycle. You have to make it work, and putting the right people in place have helped that. Now it's about sustaining. It's about sustaining this period of success. You know, winning more trophies next this season and next season, and so okay, this last 5 or 6 years, right? But we have to show we won a Champions League, we won another Premier League, we won some cups along the way as well. So I think good days are ahead.
And behind the scenes, we've just changed our head doctor guy. Again, we've always spoken about like players seem to be injured a lot.
Injury, yeah.
Well, something they're trying to improve that area as well. So it's all good things, all good signs.
Maybe Gabriel Heinz has had a good impact on the players as well. The whole thing works. Brazilian connections. The Pep exit will have a similar effect and consequence as when Ferguson left United and Roman abandoned ship. A dynasty has fallen. Yeah, I think Erling Haaland and Semenyo and what's the guy, Chirpy or whatever his name is, they're good players and they're going to be up there competing, but I don't see them as infallible anymore. As we said last season, we didn't fear Man City last season. I didn't fear Man City.
Imagine a scenario where 3 years from now, we've won another 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup. Let's say we've won a Champions League as well.
Yeah.
And it's 3 years from now, and Haaland wants to leave Man City to come to Arsenal. Man City doesn't want to sell him to us, and Haaland is refusing to go to work.
Yeah.
Like it's that. I mean, who knows what could happen? Who knows, right? Who knows?
Linking up with Odegaard again.
Who knows, right?
I have a good feeling we will. Winning the league and getting to 2 finals, especially the Champions League, is no easy task. We were on course to doing a treble, and only United and City have done it before. Yeah, we were close. We were close to it, yet so far away when you think about it as well. Then he must be licking his lips at being the king of the Premier League. Yeah, I think sometimes, the Premier League is the place to be. And players know that as well. Liverpool players fighting each other for the armband was good to see them disrupted. LOL. So speaks. I have a feeling that Berta does not treat the caliber of players similarly. I think how he speaks to Vini Jr. would be vastly different from Stolz's, for example. Of course. Stolz is a player who knew he was coming to the Premier League. Vinny may not have known he was coming to the Premier League. You know what I mean? Until the opportunity arises with his contract.
But I've even heard he's got people, right? Yes, people. He's one of those players that have people, and he said to his people, things could be changing. Who knows what's going to happen? Go out, do your analytical work. Find if I was to leave, where would be a good place for me to go? And the answer has come back as Arsenal. That's where we are. So if anything's going to happen, I think it's looking favourable that Arsenal will make sure that they will do what it takes. So they've basically said, haven't they? We will do whatever it takes. If there's an opportunity there to bring Vinny in at all levels, that's what we should do.
And that gives Vinny and his people some leverage in negotiations, but it's really up to Madrid now. They don't want to get, I think you said it, Stan, they don't want to get into crazy numbers when it comes to all of this stuff because the other players...
They haven't got a bottomless pit of money, right?
Yeah.
They already pay a lot of money out for some players.
Yeah.
So, and what they don't want is, okay, we'll do it for Vinny, and then 8 months later, it's another valuable player who's coming around for contract talks, or and then it starts a chain reaction. Who knows? But there is another thing that did cross my mind, is that there's sometimes players have in their contracts a clause, and I think I don't know why, but when Saka got his new contract, maybe I dreamt it, maybe I read it, but I heard that he had a similar clause where some players can have a clause where if you sign another player and that player comes in and they're earning more money than you, your salary has to be made comparative with new player. Especially if you're considered like a face of the team, someone of importance. You know what I mean? You can imagine someone like an Mbappe would have something like that, right? You want to sign a player, sign who you want, but if they're getting paid more than me, I need to be made comparative. So I don't know if there's that, but you could also say that if you're a footballer and your club's going to bring in someone like Vini Jr, I don't know if you'd kick up a fuss, right? You want that.
Yeah, you want, of course.
You want to see a face like that coming in.
Saka would love it. Saka on the right, Vinny on the left, right? The other thing as well is coming off a World Cup where Mbappe has rubber stamped his status as one of the best forwards or strikers in the game, right? And then Bellingham was probably player of the tournament coming out of the World Cup as well. So those are both Real Madrid players who just have increased their profile. And Vinny did not have the best World Cup. Brazil did not have the best World Cup. So maybe he will want to have that.
I mean, I think it was the first Brazil game that they played at the World Cup. I can't remember who it was against, but they were playing like dog shit. They were playing really poorly. And then there was, out of nowhere, who scored the goal that got them through to the next game? It was Vinny.
Yeah.
Everyone was playing pretty crap. Vinny still wanted it, right? He done the moment of magic, scored the goal.
I think it was a ball over the top in the inside left channel, and he scored. Yeah.
That's what you're getting. You're not getting someone that is going to shirk down and play shit because everyone else is.
No.
Someone that's a bit of pride about them is going to continue to try.
I just wonder if there is a couple of big players in Madrid that would tell him, I need to move to the Premier League now. Mbappe's there, Bellingham's there, that might outshine him.
Mbappe might be playing through the middle, but I think everybody knows where he would prefer to play. He would prefer to play on that left side. Yep. That's where he would prefer to play. Even though for the French team, he plays for the middle as well. But he's made it known that he prefers to occupy that space over there on the left, right?
Right. And
you could say that before they bought Mbappe. Do you remember that season where Bellingham scored all them goals? It was like, fucking hell, Carlo Ancelotti was the manager.
Yeah.
They brought in Mbappe, and even though Mbappe as an individual has gone on to score 40-odd goals a season, like 46 goals or whatever, as a team, what have they won since he's been in the side? They've not won anything.
Yeah.
They've not won the league, and they've not won the Champions League. So... And they've just bought that. Who's that? They've just bought that younger player. What's his name? Is it Diamande?
Diamande, yeah.
Who has played on the right, but he actually came out and said that when he plays football, he enjoys. I can't remember what it was, but it was just he basically wants to play on the left. He would obviously, if you're young and you're going to Real Madrid, you play where you're told. It's Real Madrid, but again, there's competition for that side. They're not sure. So there could be a world where they think, okay, we can live without Vinny. They've also got Rodrigo. And Rodrigo has played on the right-hand side, but where's his favoured position? Also the left.
Interesting times. So many say Diamande coming in means Vinny could be going out. We'll see what happens. I prefer Yildiz, says Sean, over Barcola if we were somehow unable to get Vinny Jr. Sean, I thought Yildiz not having a good World Cup would have helped to bring his price down a bit for a possible move. And off of the back of World Cups, players do move on the back of good World Cups. Jesus needs to go, even if it's for 15 million. He needs to get off the books. He offers nothing when needed. I would say maybe Gabriel Jesus is at a Carabao Cup level or a early stages of the FA Cup level striker.
But
For
but 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 265K a week. What, Ray? Come on.
yeah, yeah, makes sense. You're right.
But it makes it hard to get rid of him unless you're to say, oh, we're gonna pay. Even if you're paying half his wages, he's still gonna be hard to
Well,
get
what
to a
is he?
Brazilian club.
Is he the wrong side of 30 now? He's got to be like 31, something like that.
I don't think so.
Yildiz being so expensive is because he just recently, like 6 months ago, signed a new contract at Juve. Turkey had a poor World Cup overall, but I don't think that affected the prices of the stars. Yeah, the prices don't go down that easily. Gulair, Yildiz, and Yilmaz are still highly rated and wanted talents who would cost too much money to sign.
I'll give you a good example of where we are with this window. Many seasons ago, we wouldn't be looking at Bruno. We'd be looking at Bouadi. You know, the young kid from Morocco.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks like a good player. But what would happen is that he'd come to Arsenal. You know, we'd train him up. He'd grow. He'd learn the game, and then he'd fuck off somewhere else. You know what I mean? Just as he's reaching his peak. What we're doing now is we're bringing in the ready-made top tier. That's what we're going after, right? We look at Bruno G than Bouadi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, why can't Bouadi? Why can't we? You know, in 2 to 3 years' time, when Bruno G is probably coming down the other side of the hill, that's when you start looking at maybe Bouadi, right? Once he had a chance to go out in the world, get more games under his belt, make more of a name for himself, buying him at that stage rather than getting him now, when there's no guarantees. It might not win you the league, it might not get you to a Champions League final because there might be inconsistencies of a young player. Someone like Bruno G, he's playing for it now. He's playing for it now. He knows that this might be his only chance to win a Premier League title or get to the Champions League final. And Arsenal is a great vehicle for him to establish that, right? So I like this attitude. This is where it's all flipped around. We're not doing things like buying a Denilson and thinking we're buying this young kid. He looks promising. We don't know what's going to happen. We're actually now trying to go out and buy the real deal. And we are still looking at prospects. We've got those 2 young Brazilian brothers, didn't we? That are coming in.
Yep.
Youngsters. So there is also, we've got a Max Dowman. There's others in the youth team, Salmon. There's other names that are still bubbling in the background. So we still have an eye on the future as well. Not only Ethan, but he's got a brother, right? Ethan's got a brother that's with us.
Everything that you just said, Stan, will strike fear into the hearts of a lot of our Premier League opponents before even a ball is kicked. Like Bruno Guimaraes went to Arsenal. Well, there goes the price. The price shortens for Arsenal to win the Premier League again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but well, none of that, Ray, is like how much is Bruno to be? Is he to be mainly used in the Premier League, or is he to mainly be used in the Champions League? That's why you got to figure out these guys' roles.
If you look at the amount of games that are available for us, and we played almost all of them last season, the Premier League is over half of the games that you're going to play in a season. So there is your answer. It's going to be played primarily in the Premier League, but it'll be available for
But that's where they need a rest at, or a rest in the Champions League, because you see how easy it is to get through the league phase of the Champions League in the top 8 position.
Yeah.
That's not hard to do.
Well, let's just say you see the advantage of being in the top 2 in the league, because you get that bye and you get a very good draw.
But there is a problem, right?
Home games throughout, so you play at home first or second, right? Second. The advantage. You have the advantage.
This season, Ray, there not going to be 2 Premier League teams that only have 70 points. There to be more teams that have 70 points than just us and City.
Uh, he, I think it'll be similar points to what we did last season. It'll be
Yeah,
mid
there,
80s. I think
it's got to change.
we can leave about 85 points now that Man City are not as prolific as they have been.
Yeah, but
Um,
the rest of them that come up, Man United's to be further up there. Chelsea's probably
yeah,
to be further up there.
yeah, we'll definitely
And
do a couple of who gives a fuck games as well. We'll go another 15, 20 minutes tonight. Sean said also, when is this City 115 charges thing going to be ever resolved? I think twice. I think twice about signing for City if I was a player. We're waiting. We're waiting.
but why do you? But the thing is, Ray, is all those charges were pretty much between 2015 and 2019. It's nothing that's affected the past almost decade.
Okay. You want to drop the charges, Tony?
It's stuff that other teams are doing,
Yeah. Um,
and they
I,
were doing similar things when they were using basically New York FC as a feeder club. That they were using those
yeah.
teams to balance their books kind of that way.
Alexander has a question. What would you do if giving up the number 7 for Saka to give Vinny was a point of contention to sign for us? A shirt name is a shirt's just a shirt to the fans, right? It's
Does that matter? You're gonna sell more shirts if they change numbers.
if Vinny wants the number 7, what do you do?
Why
You
can't you have the
do
number
it.
11?
Yeah, you can have the number 11.
I know it's Martinelli's number at the moment, but I always think that the 11 is for a left winger.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Anders Limpar back in the day, 11, I think he was. I don't.
Stan's never to go up on his
I
number
don't
scheme,
believe
are you?
that's. I don't believe that's the issue. If anything, we'd sell Jesus, give Jokeres 9, and Vinny could get to 14.
Look at Ozil. Ozil's brand was number 10, and when he first came to us, he was number 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
David Beckham, right, number 7. When he went to Madrid, he was 20 something. Wasn't he 23?
Yeah, I think it's 23.
Bringing Vini Jr. would take the heat off of Saka.
Oh, hold on, no. We did do it for Bergkamp. We took Paul Merson's number 10 away from him.
Yeah.
And gave him number 9 and gave number 10 to Dennis Bergkamp.
How did that work out for us?
I think Paul Merson would say it was the best thing he ever did, for Arsenal. I don't know. Yeah, but saying hypothetically, would you take Saka 7 off of him for us to get Vinny? Yeah, do it.
I don't see why that would be. It's either that or no deal. I don't see that would be. There's more things that surely must be important, right?
If I remember correctly, didn't Saka go from 77 to 7?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did.
Saka doesn't deserve to be stripped of number. The best solution is the sale of Jesus and swapping those numbers.
No, I won't give Vinny number 9.
Exactly. No. They essentially have 4 left wing players try and occupy one position, the others get shoehorned into. Yep. Fair swapping numbers after Jesus makes a lot of sense. Buati's price is highly inflated from the World Cup. Yeah, agree. The same one that inflated Enzo and James Rodriguez price hikes. He was priced at 40 million before the World Cup. That's wild. What's his price now? Coming to the end of the show here pretty soon. 100 million. Bruno and Declan could easily rotate. Or be the duo who stars in the Premier League and Champions League. Zubimendi and Miles Lewis-Skelly could likely be our cup midfield pivot. There'll be plenty of minutes for Premier League and Champions League for all of these. Hello, Ray, Stan, and Captain Restream. Exactly. Saka keeping number 7. Alonso has spoken. Vinny number 9. There you go. You don't like it? Stan is the traditionalist, right?
Give the 9 to get to Gyökeres.
Yeah. What number is Gyökeres? He's
So
on
we sell
14, I think.
Jesus to give the 9 to Gyökeres.
Yeah. The reason charges are important is
And then give the 14 to Julian Alvarez.
Yep. Exactly. Let's do it. Maybe a word or two for Julian Alvarez, but I don't think if you're doing Vinny, you can't do Junior.
How
If
do you
you're
know?
Barcola, you can't do Junior because you got Bruno already.
So
You know what I mean?
there's a lot of money that we have. I mean, there is we're all right. I mean,
we made almost.
You don't think that we could spend 300 million?
Yeah.
Well, we made almost 200 million in the Champions League, 200 million in the Premier League, so the money's there.
I'm not worried about money that isn't mine. You know what I mean?
But the problem is getting the wages off the book and balancing that way. But transfer fees aren't an issue.
The reason the charges are important is because they wouldn't have built the platform for the successes they have had. If it wasn't for them cheating, same with Chelsea, we need to set a precedent. And that's probably the reason why we're seeing Eddie Howe step down from Newcastle now, because of they weren't able to do the things that Man City did, allegedly, right? Allegedly.
But like I said, it's because they changed the way financial fair play was, and
Yeah.
Newcastle hasn't been able to compete. I really don't. I don't get why the clubs ever agreed for the Newcastle stuff.
But Tony, Newcastle were never going to move in the way the Man City moved. You know?
Well, why not when they had 80% of the wealth of the league, right?
Yeah, but
there was a rule change.
Rules. It was rules.
They got handcuffed.
And
that's what I'm saying. The rules changed. The rules when the ownership took place were different. It changed because they might as well just said no, you can't buy them. Is what they should have said, but instead they changed the rules.
Alonso does not want Alvarez either. Sean doesn't want Alvarez. I think it's ridiculous when Gyökeres had the best debut season from an Arsenal player since Alexis Sanchez, top scorer in a system that didn't even suit him.
Why can't we live in a world where Gabriel Jesus is sold, and then we have a forward choice of Kai Havertz, Gyökeres, Julian Alvarez, and Mikel Merino?
Yeah, I knew you were going to do Mikel. Put some respect on Mikel.
I mean, with the amount of games that we have to play, injuries and stuff like that, I mean, if that's what we could pick from, and there could be certain game states where you could see two of those players in the team on the field at the same time. It doesn't always have to be one as a lone striker throughout the whole of the 90 minutes. I think that would just strengthens our hand. If it can be done, imagine a world where we have a transfer window where we bring in Alvarez to add. We're not selling Gyökeres, Havertz or Merino. We bring in Bruno, and we bring in Vini Jr, and maybe we also do something defensively because of the Saliba situation. Could you imagine that window? I mean, I'd be very happy, mate. Running downtown through Vancouver in the nude, if that happens.
Can we get footage of that?
Probably from the police.
Very, very dark. Very, very dark pixel.
It'll probably be police body cam as they're chasing me.
Stands back, goes out halfway through.
Yeah,
you've done your back. There you go.
But imagine that window. I mean,
Yeah.
That's just a thing of dreams, man. That's a thing of dreams.
Why not have the best squad again going into the next season? I'd go for Rafinha if we can't get Vinny. Good
Why
call.
not?
Because I don't want anyone from Argentina in the squad or our club for a multitude of reasons. There you go.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is a good place to wrap it up a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Unless you got anything else fitting right there on.
No,
Did you watch the Liverpool game yesterday, Ray?
No, I did not.
didn't even know
Um,
they played.
no. Um, we're now in a period of preseason games where I will be keeping notice of things, but not a strong notice of things. It's about getting fitness into the legs and getting players that are going to be ready to play August 21st, Friday, August 21st at home to Coventry. And I mentioned teams coming up from the that have been promoted. They are sometimes very, very dangerous teams, especially in the first month
Well,
of the season.
why does Arsenal get so many of these Friday games?
We don't actually.
I to me it seems like we've gotten a
Well,
lot of these.
I will just give you one answer because we won the Premier League, and when you
Yeah,
win the
but
Premier League, usually you get the first game back.
Yeah.
we it's happened multiple times and we haven't won
Well,
anything.
it hasn't happened multiple times because we've not won the Premier League in multiple times in the
We
last
we've
10 years.
we've started on Fridays before.
The only other one was Brentford. The only other one was Brentford away from home. And here we go. It's a new season, but it's the same old
Hi,
Alonso.
Same old
hi,
story.
Alonso. Goodbye, Alonso.
Oh, Chief, funny good to see you too.
Hey, pal.
He is, you know, the story about Steve Bold. There's a story about Steve Bold
Hey, pal.
who wanted to get on the pitch for his
No, it's
medal.
Martin Keown.
Martin Keown, that's it. He wanted to get on the pitch. Alonso, you're Martin Keown. you, you want to get on the pitch for your medal. And he's like, come on, boss, put me in, put me in. And then Ray Parler is winding him up. He starts warming up down the
Oh,
sideline. It's a good story. I'll go into it in more detail.
I wonder if Ray Parker said, "Put me in, pal."
Put me in, pal. Put me in, pal. All right, Stan, we're gonna wind up, but I'll give you an opportunity to say a few words and get out of here, Stan.
No, I'm basically done. Good to have a little chin wag. Really excited to see what happens during this transfer window. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe we start the season with Marcus Rashford. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
So let's just see what happens. Hopefully, we'll be welcoming Bruno in. He'll be an Arsenal player by the early part of next week, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
Oh,
could be an interesting 24 hours. Who knows?
Welcome, Bruno Gummy Bears. So Stan, you can, if you want to go, just bow out whenever. I'm going to give Alonso a few minutes so he gets like a warmed up. You know what I mean? Before the end of the game, like 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time. He's basically we're holding on for a win and working on a substitute.
It's the warm down minutes for Alonso.
It's the warm down minutes for Alonso. But opinions of Tony, say your last few words and we'll get out of here, and then we'll give Alonso a few minutes of airtime.
I still think we gotta do a lot of business because I think it's gonna be a lot harder to retain the Premier League or even be super competitive in a
It's hard
Premier
enough to
League.
win it in the first place.
Yeah,
Look, of course, it's going to be hard and difficult and competitive.
but I think the other teams are gonna be better than they've been. I don't think it's gonna be this just runaway of two teams or 2 years ago when basically Liverpool just left everybody behind because nobody else was that good. I think things are to kind of compact more at the top. Then there's gonna be more of a gap between the
If we get
top
if we
and the
get
bottom.
Bruno Gamaraes, there's not going to be a midfield better than Arsenal's out there. I believe.
Someone's just tweeted Bruno Gomes removing Newcastle from his X account.
There you go. These are the steps. So tick that box. That's the next step, right? Talk First, we talk to his people, then we talk to the club. Um, Eddie Howe steps down. Uh, Bruno Gamars removes all of his socials.
There's another one here from 12 minutes ago that I've seen a couple of times since I've been scanning. It says Newcastle United have made their position on Bruno Guimaraes crystal clear amid reported interest from Arsenal. The Brazilian midfielder remains a key part of Newcastle's project, with the club determined to keep hold of one of their most influential players. Bruno has been at the heart of Newcastle's rise, and losing him would be a major setback for, it says, for Eddie Howe's side, even though it's not his side. You know what I mean? So, if you were Newcastle, would you sort of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even if that's true, a club's going to say that, right? They're always going to like, we like this player. We don't want him to leave. But they did offer us 80 million and we took it. So
Isn't that what is that what Arsenal said about Van Persie?
Yeah.
Before he left too, right? So it was
Yeah,
like, wow,
of course.
man, it's crazy.
And a few days from now, Newcastle will be thanking the player for everything that he did for them whilst he was.
Here's another one, last one from 33 minutes ago. It says, according to well-placed sources, Bruno Guimaraes is set to join Arsenal for a fee in total of £80 million, 78 million fixed, and 2 million in add-ons. With the medical booked, he is set to sign a 5-year contract once past medical. But again, who knows if this is true? I don't.
Yeah.
Again, it was tweeted by someone called Big Bob. I don't know who Big Bob is. You know what I mean? It may as well have been tweeted out by Trust Me Bro. You know
But
what I mean?
it sounds better than a tweet from Small Bob, right?
It does. Small Bob. Yeah.
Lawrence in bed eating pizza.
Oh shit!
So who knows, right? You know what I mean? Who knows what's true? I don't know who Big
Come
Bob
on,
is.
Ray, laugh.
Maybe
Laugh,
Big Bob.
laugh, Ray.
Maybe Big Bob has his finger on the pulse. Who knows?
Big Bob.
Yeah. Big Bad Bob, right?
Don't knock it, Big Bob.
But this is all writing on the wall. These are the things that happen. Yeah, let's get behind Big Bob, right? Big Bob, give him some clout. We'll give Big Bob some clout, okay? Go
Oh,
Big
David
Bob.
Ornstein. Hold on.
What? You got more?
What's the no? But this is
I like this.
this is David Ornstein from the 28th. That's 2 days ago. It says AFC reach agreement with Newcastle for Bruno, 28-year-old Brazilian international, now subject to medical before signing 3-year +1. And that is from David Ornstein's account. And that was 2 days ago. So, I mean, I would take David Ornstein over Big Bob, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe Big Bob was giving Ornstein his information.
Hold on a minute.
Got more?
You don't know what's real, right? I'm just reading some stuff here.
What's your read on the situation, Alonzo?
Yeah. So apparently, he's friends with, Gabby Megalish and Martinelli. So maybe he sees those guys as being somewhat influential at Arsenal. And he sees aspirations being he wants to win the league in the near future, and he wasn't going to do it at Newcastle. We've all seen how frustrating he could be on the other side of the pitch, but Newcastle, every time they play Arsenal, he always gives us an edge that we don't like. Right? He's the kind of player that if he's on our team, we love him, but if he's on the other side, we hate him. Right? And he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
But I think he'll make Declan Rice and that whole midfield better by the way he plays, the way he's got some good passing as well. That's underrated about him. I think he's the kind of guy that will calm the game down, like Declan Rice. And I'm just so glad that we have a guy like that because it adds more shenanigans to the Arsenal that we have gotten better at, where he'll defend our players. I think that he'll pick up the system very quickly, I think he's very smart. Obviously, he's a captain, and he's our leader that we can have on our squad. So I'm okay with it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like we said, all the steps, all the things are happening that we would think it would mean that Bruno Guimaraes is moving closer to Arsenal
About
and
fucking time.
on his way. Yeah. So all right, I think that's a good place to leave it off. Good to see Alonso getting in for the last 5 or 6 minutes to get a good appearance in there. Thanks for joining, Alonso. Always good to have you. Tony, good to see you're doing well and you can face into a new season healthy and off the treatment table, right?
Be on a treatment table if I have my full shoulder replacement. But
Yeah. And Stan, thanks for being here from start of the show. And here we go, a new season starting. Hopefully, an exciting one, and one where you said Arsenal are in where we in the position that we wanted Arsenal to be in all these years, so we could command and talk about these kinds of players um, coming in. So this has been Arsenal Fan Circle, and we start a new season. And let's see what happens in the coming days in the transfer window.
Yeah,
As
I'm off to DM Big Bob to see if I can get any more information.
3 weeks, 3 weeks from now, tomorrow will be the start of the season against Coventry. So let's get a good preseason in and be ready for the season to start in earnest. Okay? Take care, everyone. We will see you on the next one. Come
go
on, you
Big
Gooners.
Bob.
Go, Big Bob. Nice one.
Bro. Tarek,
How did Big Bob get the billing tonight?
Yeah.
I don't know.